Hey, what up, young jerks? What up, jerks? How you doing? I hope people are here tonight. These summertime shows where we start at 6, I just realized that there's probably still a lot of people out, but just kind of what we stick to. We've been doing a lot of 6 p.m. for a long time, and here we are. Beautiful weekend. I like the weather, a little cooler tonight. Hopefully it stays that way for the rest of the weekend. It was just too hot yesterday, especially. Let me have a sip of coffee. Hold on. Excellent. All right. So we got a great show tonight. We got another. I always say that we have a great show. We do. We're getting right back into what's going on in Norfolk County. Norfolk County District Attorney's Office race. It's happening right now, and we have. We don't know if Michael Morrissey's running. He's missing in action, but some indication he may be running. We'll see what happens there. But we have three great candidates, and yes, they are all Democrats. That's always the question that comes up for me. What party are they in? Are they Democrats? They're all Democrats. We've had one of them on the show several times. I think three, four, maybe even five times now. I'm not sure. It's been several times. Juna Perkins, she's great. She's a former prosecutor, and she put another video out yesterday that we may play on the show upcoming. I like that she's putting out these little policy videos and kind of fleshing out who she is. This one was more about her background, but also about domestic abuse and some of the things going on in Norfolk County related to prosecutions. And there's been a lot of craziness happening. You see, even after Karen Reed, I think the Free Karen Reed people, we warned you all. We warned you all that this was going to be a problem in other trials and other murder cases. We're seeing that. We're seeing evidence get thrown out, subpoenas get thrown out because of Lally and Proctor and the way that this Norfolk County DA office has been running, and all the defense attorneys are hip to it now. You see Rosemary Scott Piccio and others challenging everything. And it's amazing. We just saw Lally on the stand. I had an interview about that yesterday on Grace Curley's show on the Howie Carr Radio Network. Check that out. It was great to talk about that yesterday. Definitely going to talk about it with a guest tonight. We have a guest here who is running. He's one of the three people who is running for district attorney against Michael Morrissey. I mentioned Juna Perkins first. There's also another former prosecutor, Craig McClellan. We haven't had him on the show yet. And now, for the first time, we're going to have right now, he's a defense attorney. And what I like is he's a public defender. Public defenders to me are heroes. So I'm excited. I'm not even sure. I'm assuming he's criminal. I don't know if there's any public defender for civil cases. They should get those. I don't think we do have those in Mass, but I'm guessing it's for criminal. We're gonna find out right now. He's an attorney, public defender. Public defenders have become a big issue in the state right now because people are having charges dismissed because public defenders aren't getting paid enough. They're really getting stiffed, in my opinion. When you consider how much other attorneys get paid in the state, the attorney that I recently hired for my defamation defense lawsuit, over $1,000 an hour, where these public defenders for murder cases are getting like $100 an hour. It's not. It's ridiculous. This is why public defenders right now, it's an issue in the state of Massachusetts, and I'm glad to have this guest on because he's a public defender. Hopefully, he's going to shed some light on it. I'm sure he's also got a lot to say about Michael Morrissey. So let's find out who this guy is, this candidate, for the first time on the show here. Jim Bearcat, welcome to the Young Jerks. How you doing tonight?
Mike, I'm great, and I really appreciate you having me on your show. I appreciate the comments about public defenders being heroes. I I also would say someone like yourself is a hero to shed light on these subjects that don't get enough time in the mainstream media. And so thank you. I certainly don't make $1,000 an hour, but that would be
What
nice.
kind?
But I do like what I do. But I think there's other callings perhaps as well.
So when you public defenders, like what type of cases are you doing? Criminal defense, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yes, I am. And so for to answer your your question about civil cases, we do have public defenders on the civil side to represent children and parents in care and protection cases when the Department of Children and Families enters in someone's life, and or a guardian in a probate court matter wants to remove a child from a parent or parents that they seem to be unfit. That's a civil right under Sentosky versus Kramer from the United States Supreme Court, that you have a right to parent your child how you deem fit. But it's not always what the state thinks, or not always what you or I might think. So actually, for many years, for about 7 years, I did do public defense in children and family work. I do criminal public defense now in the district court and superior court in Massachusetts.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself too. Like, how did you become a lawyer? Where you're from? Or just tell us, maybe the hits on what you think people want to know about yourself.
Sure. I'm born and raised in Chicago, raised by a single mother. I went to Chicago public schools my whole life, and I moved to Massachusetts for graduate school. And I met my wife here, and I decided it's a great place. I'm going to stay here. Let me think. What can I tell you about myself?
Where did you go to grad school?
I went to New England School of Law, and I went undergrad at Northern Illinois University for philosophy and political science.
Do you happen to know a woman named Wendy Murphy from New England School of Law? Just curious.
I personally know, but I do know Wendy Murphy. I've heard that. You have a connection there, or?
Well, I mean, it's complicated, but just let's say that she's the Free Crown Read crowd. We laugh at her. She's posted some outrageous and like the worst legal takes you've ever seen. We obviously our biggest guest that comes on the show, Mark Betterow, attorney Mark Betterow. He's a defense attorney from
Sure.
Manhattan, by the way, of Framingham, but he's basically really called her out big time about that's how we actually met Mark Betterow, is because he was calling her out on Twitter because her posts were so crazy about like that Karen she felt like Karen had to defend herself on the stand, like that Karen didn't have a right to plead the fifth, just crazy stuff that she posted. So
I say so much, always so much to keep up with, and there's so much.
It's better not to know about her.
Well, and I know we were briefly discussing before you went live that I had actually come in a run when I was a teenager with my own kind of defamation issues, and kind of researching that stuff made me want to go to law school at a young age, and so that's what I did.
It's funny, yeah, because we did mention that because that's one of the things about the public defenders that I think is wild. That here I am paying $1,000 plus an hour. He's a great attorney, no doubt about it. He's a defense attorney, but it's a civil case. It's not a murder case, and $1,000 private practice is what these guys get. Where your public defender doing a murder case, and it's like $140 or $130, whatever it is, 100 and something dollars an hour compared to 1,000 plus. It seems so out of proportion. How do they consider a public defender even equal to a criminal defense attorney who's making $1,000 an hour? It just doesn't seem fair.
I mean, there's a lot of politics too behind. It's unfortunate for some of the folks who are getting paid what they're saying is the lowest reimbursement rates in the country for public defense. I don't have authority to speak on the issues too succinctly, but what I can tell you about the scheme of public defense in Massachusetts is that there's kind of two schools. One of them is like me, a staff attorney for the state. So I'm a salaried employee. And then there's the folks who are, I guess they're on strike because of the pay.
Kind of the freelancers.
Yeah, they're like independent.
They don't work for the state. They're like contractors. Yeah.
Right. And I think the paycheck all comes from the same place, but
it's a different pay. So I that's interesting. So you're not one of them. You're one of the state employees in the public defender. How like what type of payment do they get? Like so I guess you're working for a yearly salary. Is that what it is?
Yeah, correct. So how it does work with that is we get an office that's paid for by the state, and our investigators, our social workers, our administrative staff, our IT, that's all covered for us. We get your health insurance, dental insurance, long-term disability, life insurance. I guess whatever the benefits are of being a public employee, like a state pension. You could opt to pay into a 401k if you want, or 503b or what that is, and but whereas on the other side, if you were taking these kind of independent contractor cases, those are all things I guess you're going to have to account for on your own, whether that's coming off your own budget, bottom line, or maybe you have a partner who you can be on their benefits, and that works out. I don't know. Well,
yeah, it's different.
But also an issue too. I don't know if the scheme was ever meant to be exclusively working doing those cases. I think maybe a fill-in. I know there's some attorneys who exclusively do that work, and I guess exclusively doing that work, it certainly might be tough to make the ends meet when that's the reimbursement rate.
So if you're paying for, like you said, an office, and you're also paying for your student loans. One of our top commenters here said, I wouldn't mind $100 an hour if it did not come with student debt. I mean, I think that's a big issue now too for a lot of these professional, like law school or a doctor, or their wages oftentimes aren't keeping up with the cost of the schooling. So it's hard.
Yeah.
Harder.
So I mean, I'm running as a Democrat. I am a Democrat, but I can say that working for the public defender's office, I've been able to avail myself to a policy that was put in by a Republican president, George W. Bush, of public service loan forgiveness. So after 10 years of service, I've had over 10 years with the public defender's office, and I mean, the U.S. government kept their end of the deal that my debt would be wiped away from undergrad and college, and it was, and so here I am. Yeah, I wouldn't mind $100 an hour either if I had no debt.
I'm just laughing. Like that's my life. I walk dogs for a living.
Oh yeah, okay.
No debt. I have no debt, so I'm doing good. People laugh at the dog walking. I'm like, geez, they don't realize how profitable it can be. And I'm not even doing that much anymore. I'm more doing the shows lately, actually, but it's funny. It's like I'm doing two things that you don't need a college degree for, I guess. But I do have a college degree, but just a 4-year state college back in the day, like way back in the day. I paid those loans off a long time ago. It wasn't that expensive. It's like $9,000 a year when I went to school or something. That includes room and board and everything. Now it's like even the state school's got to be like 3 times as expensive. It's just ridiculous. Let's talk about this. The main thing we have on the show about tonight, which is what people want to hear. Why are you running for district attorney, and what would you try to accomplish here?
Well, to run, certainly one of the requirements is you are a resident of that county. And so I'm a resident of Norfolk County. We have in this county, um, from what I've read and what I've heard, um, we've got schools that are the best in the country, top ranked. Um, I recently read we're the healthiest county in America. Um, but when you look at our justice system, I mean, you think it would excel, but it's like more like it's in the toilet. Um, you look at these cases like Karen Reed and Sandra Birchmore, and um, and of course the Walsh murder case as well. Um, and you look at a lot of the corners that the district attorney's office is cutting, a lot of things they're doing not by the book, and I mean, and these are the cases that are in the public eye. These are in the media, you know, and I'm getting reports, and I'm like, if this is what they're doing when we're all watching, you know, what are they doing to the cases that no one cares about? And I could assume it's probably 10 times as worse. I don't practice in Norfolk County. I practice in Plymouth County, but I mean, when you talk about whether it's overcharging to kind of make a plea deal, or these what I just read about Michael Proctor sticking a GPS monitor or something like that on Brian Walsh's car without a warrant. I mean, this is crazy stuff that's happening. I have two children. God forbid they ever join a police academy and be targeted by some disgusting police officers. And God forbid, my wife ever goes out and has a crime pinned on her by some drunk cops. That's not the county I want to live in. It's certainly, I don't certainly feel 100% safe that those are the people running my county. And I may not win, but at least I can say I try to do something about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's wild. I'm glad you brought that up about Proctor, in the GPS, because that just got struck out. Like that, anything that came up from that GPS tracker that he put on the car is now excluded. It's not allowed. The judge actually said that. So, I mean, this is having real world effects on somebody that looks like they're guilty, looks like they did the crime, and now he's getting some benefit out of it because Proctor in this DA's office is out to lunch.
And I've appeared before that judge before, and from what I know, um, she's by the book. She's a straight shooter, so I think she's calling it as she sees it. These are um, I certainly don't have a vendetta against all police. I don't like bad police.
Agreed. I'm 100% agree with you. And I gotta say, like, the last couple of years since I've been covering this stuff, this kind of police corruption, I've made a lot of friends who are ex law enforcement. So a lot of law enforcement feel the same way. Actually, they want to see it cleaned up. They know that there's an issue, and oftentimes they can't say anything, until after they leave, because there's that thin blue line. You're just gonna face repercussions, and even if you buck the system internally, you don't get promoted. I mean, that's the way a lot of it. A lot of these guys tell me that, like, who the most honest police officers are? It's the guy who's been a patrolman for 20 years. He never moved up because he didn't do a favor for his superiors or the chief and didn't play the game. And that's what happens. You stay as a patrolman. You never
I,
move up to detective.
I mean, I know it's not Norfolk County, but I just wrapped up listening to a podcast, Snitch City, which is about the New Bedford Police Department, and it's just it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable
It
how
is.
it works.
Yeah. It is unbelievable. Let's talk, we've talked about Michael Proctor, and there's also this Miles King who allegedly killed somebody in front of their house, their mother's house. Um, was held for 3 years. There were all these warrants, these 6 warrants that Adam Lally couldn't get from Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor was supposed to show up at this hearing, but told everyone he was on vacation and didn't show up, but he sent his lawyer instead. Um, and this Miles King, who, I mean, I'm watching the video after, especially when he comes out of. He's basically been locked up for 3 years, and the judge lowered the bail so much because of all this crap going on with the state police. It looks like the judge was frustrated, so they lowered the bail, and the guy got out, and he's up for murder, in front of someone's house, someone's mother's house. Um, and he gets out of he gets into the limo. It looks like he's gang banging again. It looks like he's doing the gang banging videos. Like he's a rapper, gang banger, local, it looks like. And it just looked like he's right back to that life as soon as he got up and he's putting it on the video. And it just, to me, so disgusting to see this where Michael Proctor and Adam Lally went on and on about how they cared about John O'Keefe's family, but they don't seem to care about this kid Marquise that got gunned down or his mom. So I just wonder, like, how do you fix that? Like, because there doesn't seem like they care. Doesn't seem like they care at all.
Um, I mean, I don't dare to say it's a racial thing, but these are the kind of cases I'm referring to in the beginning of your show. What are they doing in those cases that aren't in the public eye? I mean, clearly this King case is in the public eye now, so they gotta make up for their mistakes. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when you need to get discovery from a prosecutor who then doesn't turn that what you're looking for over, and thankfully for Mr. King, he's got representation in the form of Rosemary
Rosemary.
Scarpiccio.
Yeah.
I binge watched Trial 4 about Sean Ellis, and I know that she was representing him in his appeals process. So she was doing a lot of the same stuff then that she's doing now, and another outstanding person. And so she's. I was reading something on X about she needs to run for Norfolk District Attorney as well, or she needs to jump in the race. I don't even know if she lives in Norfolk County. So
That's the funniest thing. You know what I said? I think I said to one of those. There was a few tweets like that. I think I got back to them and said, like, you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Sometimes if you try real hard, you'll get what you need. Like that's the situation. Like, like really, do you think she's gonna give up her practice right now at the peak? No way. No way.
Well, true. Well, also, I mean, I guess to revisit that, judges should certainly be holding the prosecutors accountable as well. It would be something like my job to bring it to the attention that we haven't gotten some sort of discovery, and ask for sanctions on the DA's office. But you need a judge who's gonna stand up to the machine and say, you guys might bring the cases, but this is my courtroom, this is my courthouse, this is how things are going to go. Tough spot for judges because they don't want to see their face on the front of the globe either. And when they do something, God forbid, someone goes out and does something else, and they said, who's the judge who let this
Who's the judge who let Miles out? Like, I mean, that's the risk here, and that's what it's like. It's funny because Turtle Boy Aiden Carney has been saying, like, I want them all to go free. I want these killers to go free so people realize how bad it is. And I'm just like, part of me agrees with him, but part of me is like, no, because do you really want to see more victims? It's terrible. This situation. No, there are no winners here. Um,
No.
Bettero was talking about this, about the subpoenas, because the outstanding 6 subpoenas that they kept talking about with this Brian Walsh case. Um, he said Adam Lally's sitting here waiting for Proctor to get him the subpoenas. And then he goes to Proctor's office to get the subpoenas, and Proctor says, "Yeah, I'll get them for you," but Lally leaves without actually getting them still. And Betterow was noting because he used to be, Manhattan District Attorney's Office (ADA). He put people in jail. He says, the a good DA or a good ADA, and almost any ADA is writing the warrants. They're the ones. It's a legal document. Who's writing the warrant? It should be Adam Lally. Adam Lally should be doing this work. It shouldn't be waiting for Proctor to get him the warrants. Should the ADA be in on the warrants, do you think? Like, should they have more oversight of it?
I guess that depends on how involved they are in the investigation. Um, in my experience, the police seek them from clerk magistrates, from judges, and they sometimes, most of the time, they get them. Sometimes, I guess, sometimes they don't. Then they execute them, and we're in this side trying to, I guess, on the defense side, trying to argue whether it was done correctly, whether it should have been issued in the first place, whether there was probable cause to even issue the warrant. So coming from a defense side, I guess, it's a different point of view to know and see what's going to stick when you bring a case on behalf of the Commonwealth.
What do you think needs to be fixed here with the DA's office? Like, if let's say you're elected day one, what are you doing? What are you changing? How's the culture going to change with you there?
I mean, I think you want to not necessarily clean house of the folks who work there. I know a lot of assistant district attorneys who do this because it's their job. Might be a side conversation. If this was me bringing the case, why I wouldn't bring it, but this is my job. I got to do what I got to do. And I guarantee you there's a bunch of folks like that at the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. I think where you got to draw the line is, where has there been prosecutorial misconduct? And that prosecutorial misconduct should not be tolerated. Any of these cops who are on the Brady list should not be touching cases that go to court. And I say that with a lot of conviction because whether or not a case is successful, I guess that when you say a case is successful in prosecuting the case, when it gets tossed or not guilty because of a bad cop, that's done no one justice. It makes the good cops look bad, and it makes it look like the district attorney's office was hiding the ball somewhere. They shouldn't be allowed to touch these cases. There's certainly jobs they can do. Supposed to serve and protect. There's certainly jobs they can do that can not involve touching a case. But as far as investigation, the arrest making, leave that to the cops who haven't ruined it for other good cops.
Chat like that. The folks watching when you said clean house. That was the one that everyone liked. They were like clean house. They enjoyed that part of it.
I don't know how I appreciate that comment. I just don't know how practical that might be. I don't know. You clean
Until
house.
you really get there, right? Until you get to sit down in front of people and go through everything, right?
Yeah, and then you have what? How many positions opening? Do you have people who want to work there? I don't know.
Strategic. Yeah, you got to be strategic, right? On who you let go and who you keep, and a lot of the issue too. I think is a lot of the Mass State Police. That's been obviously a big issue here, but a few of the prosecutors too. Overcharging seems to be an issue that happens here in some of these DA offices. How would you, as DA, make sure that they're not constantly overcharging people like they did with Karen Reed. Karen Reed got, I feel like, got way overcharged. Even if you believe she hit him with the car, which seems, I never thought there was any proof of that at all. But let's say you even believe that part of it. Most people that believe that believed it was an accident, that she didn't intentionally try to kill the guy, but they charge her for that. So, what do you think about overcharging? It seems like it happens a lot.
I mean, I think that's the dirtiest trick in the book, honestly, because it puts people, especially poor people, in a bad position. A lot of people go into jail because they can't afford bail, and they're sitting there, and the only way to get out of jail is to take a plea, and sometimes they might not want to plea to that, pumped up charge, but they do just so they can see the light of day again sooner, and I know it's got a lot to do with bail reform and homelessness issues, but it's not just that. I mean, clearly Kieran Reed has the means and had the means to make bail, and she's on bail. But you think if Michael Morrissey had a time machine to go back, would he ever have taken the case out of district court, or would he just said, look, vehicular homicide, take a plea for probation? I think maybe she would have taken a guilty, and we never would have heard of this case again. But time machines don't exist, and certainly would have saved the Commonwealth a lot of money. But at the expense of what? Overcharging someone on a case you were probably never going to prove in the first place, to the tune of millions of dollars. Now, I mean, it's these are the actual and practical consequences of overcharging. And when you do that across hundreds of cases, not just in Norfolk County, but across the Commonwealth, costs of going to trial in those other cases too. How much money are you really saving? What to put folks in prison that we know? Well, I mean, I can go into it a little more. To put folks in a system that we know doesn't work, to reform them. Prisons don't work.
No one ever gets reformed, really. Rates. Yeah, what's the reform rate, you think? Like 1% or 0.001%?
Recidivism rates are about 68% within 3 years, and it's 83% within 9 years. And a lot of the recidivism rates go in that direction after you're a first offender, because I think the logic is, well, my record's already fucked up. Why don't who cares now at this point?
Yeah, let's go all in. You have no more choice. Your life is basically ruined. I mean, I'm somebody who basically lost a lot over just one joint back in the day when it was not legal. And it like very much harmed my life. It seems so crazy now. And what I did is I helped change the law. Like I made I went on TV and talked about it, and it helped change the law actually. But this, like, I can't imagine like a real jail sentence. Like, because I know what just that stupid little bus did for me. It was so bad. It was for a job, for career. Um, so I mean, of course, when you throw someone in jail, they're more likely to stick with a criminal lifestyle. And now who are they around in the jail? They're all with these folks who are like, hey, what are we gonna do when we get out? Well, let's plot some more crime, right?
Hey, I mean, and two, it's a lot, unemployability. I mean, that's certainly a big piece after the folks get out. Substance use disorder, homelessness, mental illness. Studies again and again have shown that if you use pretrial services in, taking the money you otherwise would have used to lock these folks up, and I want to say I'm referring to nonviolent, who they call criminals or offenders, again and again. If the money, instead of going to the justice system to have these folks put behind bars for 6 months, 8 months, a year, for a boneheaded move, was instead spent on helping these folks kick their addiction, or support them the best they can, help them find jobs, help them improve their education, their training. That goes to pay dividends in the long run more than I think the cost in Massachusetts to incarcerate one person for a year is over $100,000. I think $107,000 for the year. I mean, okay.
Imagine if you like you said, if you invested. Imagine if they just even gave him like a retirement plan. Said he has 50 G's. So in
Go.
5 years, if you stay out of jail, we'll give you this 50 G's. I
Yeah.
bet a lot of people would reform because some of these people, 50 G's is a lot of money for them,
Yeah.
especially,
Oh,
so
especially
like we need to rethink things,
the guy
especially with
I pick up at
drugs,
the district
especially with
court
drugs.
who can't
Yeah.
make $100 bail.
Yeah.
Be like,
Like we need to rethink things. I think I what you said the word violent crime though, because this is where I get upset about the drug stuff because I see, I've seen people get thrown in jail for just being addicts. They had a large amount on them, and it's like, and they said, "Oh, you're dealing," and they're not even dealing, or if they are dealing, it's just to fuel the addiction. You know what I mean? It's like they're not like kingpins, and that happens a lot. But then there's, like you said, the violent criminals, or actually the ringleaders. If you're like a fentanyl kingpin, I think that's a little different. But it's never seems to be the kingpins. It's always the lower level people that get caught up.
yeah, it's
How
hard.
do you make sure that you get the right people, like the violent criminals and the ringleaders of the drug, rings, and put them in jail?
Well, it's hard. It's hard for when you think about folks, and the law does differentiate between just drug possession and drug possession with the intent to distribute. Um, there's certainly more drugs that are more deadly than others. But when you see again and again kind of the cyclical pattern of, all right, you'll take a 18 months probation for possessing methamphetamine, and part of your probation is you got to be drug free with screens, and you release them without any drug treatment programs, and you expect them to just, okay, I don't want to go back to jail, so I'm not going to use again. And then when they do use, eventually, what's the alternative? Put them in jail for an addiction. I mean, it seems draconian, but yeah, I mean, violent offenders. I mean, you got to deal with them. You got to deal with them certainly differently. Drug kingpin folks. Yeah, I mean, there is a decriminalization statute in Massachusetts that is, in my opinion, underutilized. It's for any crime that has a fine alternative, and they say that in the discretion of the court, with or without the objection of the district attorney's office, that crime, whatever it is, could be converted to, you owe a fine, and it's not actually on your criminal record. It's decriminalized. It's under Chapter 277, Section 70C, and quite like what they did with marijuana. They decriminalized that. Now now that it's legal, you've never really even seen anyone getting fined for it, unless they're bringing in pounds and.
I did a protest trying to get fined, and they wouldn't fine us.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I did a protest back in the day to try to get fined, and they wouldn't fine us.
Oh,
because the city of Boston was raising the fines and on the common, so we're like, let's go and we're gonna do a protest, and let's see them fine us, and they wouldn't, like on video, and they wouldn't fine us. They knew we were going to use that was smart of them, actually. The fucking cops actually used their brains and said, if we give Mike his video, it's going to look bad on us, so let's not. It was actually the park rangers, I think, and the Boston police, but yeah, you can't really get fined now. It's like they talked a lot about the fines when they did decrim, but no one really gets fined. It's like it's a pain in the butt for the cops, I think. Let's ask a couple more questions.
Yeah.
This is a good one right here. Linda has a question. Mr. Barakat, do you think the FBI is investigating Morrissey? Do you know anything about that? What do you think?
I mean, I don't have insider information. I feel like we all got kind of doxxed when I think it was Fox News said the investigation is over, for the U.S. Attorney's Office. I didn't know it was that because there was a new administration and a new, U.S. Attorney in Massachusetts. My guess is it's not, but that's nothing but conjecture for me because look at what is this going on? Burner email addresses. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, it was another question I
I
had
mean,
for you
you've been in
tonight.
office that long. What are you doing? What are you doing with the burner email addresses? I mean, that's unbelievable.
So I'm guessing you wouldn't use burner emails ever.
No, I mean, why? Why would you? Unless you got something to hide. I mean, that's my take on it.
What do you think he was? Because apparently he was messaging people in court, like the magistrates or the judges or maybe the clerks, but he was messaging people in different courts. What do you think? What type of things do you think he'd be messaging on a burner email? And do you think that there's any other like reason he would be using it beyond the fact that he was trying to hide it?
You know, as I know that kind of the community groups of whether it's public defenders and representatives from district attorneys offices and the first justices and in whatever district courts that those folks deal with, they do get together and they do meet and they talk about their general concerns about the court. But I mean, that's where it should be. I mean, it should end there. I mean, there shouldn't really be a relationship, albeit not a personal one. A personal relationship, I guess, is fine. You can't really cut off all ties with people you know or may know. But when it gets down to business, like you should have done this. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
I mean, what was I reading with Aiden Carney that some a clerk from Stoughton District Court got fired because she didn't do what Morrissey's office wanted her to do, or leaked some information, something. I don't know, made them look bad, but that's Morrissey demanded potentially some burner email demanded someone be let go. I mean, that's someone's livelihood. That's someone putting food on the table for their kids. What, because you didn't do what they wanted to do, or because whatever, it's.
Yeah, it was Michelle. I think sometimes she watches the show too. She's been on some of these shows. She did get fired. You brought up a couple things, but Aiden Carney, you brought his name up. He's facing a lot of charges right now. What would you do with this case? Because I feel like there's a lot of shenanigans there, just like it was with Karen Reed. Specifically, the fact that the prosecutor and the state police that he was criticizing and calling out for months came knocking at his door and arrested him. I think that's like a conflict of interest. What would you do about this case? Have you looked into it? Do you know enough about it? Do you feel comfortable saying anything about it?
No, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think I'm more paranoid than a conspiracy theorist. But it's obvious they were injecting themselves into his life to keep him quiet. Because he's making so much bad publicity for their office. I'm pretty much a straight shooter, but I do wonder if Craig McKellen or Juna Perkins are like, I'm going to be driving down the road in Norfolk County and I don't know, the Randolph police might just pull me over one day and have something to say about me or say I did something, and then would it tie back to Morrissey? I mean, that would be worth investigating in the FBI, but it's scary. I mean, they're working like a mafia, send these police out to do shakedowns and do it in the public eye. And then, you know what, when you say this is wrong, this is just bring them to the court. That's their answer. And if we get a not guilty, oh, well, at least we tried. But, he's fighting those charges. Good for him. I think clearly his defense attorney's doing a great job. And, I think a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people feel the same way about that.
Seems like you'd be pretty sympathetic to him in terms of the situation he's in, because
yeah, I mean, I definitely don't endorse or agree with everything he says. I've I've followed some.
It's funny that disclaimer because I've used the disclaimer a lot in the past. I don't even use it anymore because it's just like, but yeah, but beyond that,
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there might have been some people not related to Karen Reed, but just some articles unfair. But that's you're not going to agree with everyone.
exactly. Um, yeah, we've. I'm glad we talked about that too. That was very good. One thing I want to bring up right now is I've got your website pinned in the chat right now. So if people want to follow you, they can find out more information. They can also donate to your campaign. I know that you're not able to kind of solicit campaign donations because you are a state employee and a state employee can't solicit campaign donations. Is that correct?
That's right. I cannot
Can't
overtly
ask for them.
ask for a donation. Um,
But I
I
can. So if people want to donate, they can do so through your website right now, right? And if you want to support, what Jim's saying, I think it's a good idea. I think, I've had people support Juna Perkins. I mean, one of the big concerns for a lot of us is we all want Morrissey out. We're worried that the vote might get split, but I think it's so early right now. And I think that people should just donate to them all because I think the more donations that come in, the less likely Morrissey runs, and then we just have an open primary, which would be great. What I
yeah, well,
mean,
actually, I'm glad you said that, because yeah, I can't ask for you to donate, but all I can ask for you is for your vote. Um, my committee can ask for donations. Folks like you might can ask for donations for me if that's what you'd like. Um, but a great point you made. If it's not me, if you don't agree with me, I get it. And if you can't um, find it in to make a donation of time or your vote, um, you know, I think me, Juna, and Craig all are in this for the same reason, to make sure Mike Morrissey doesn't get another term in office. So if it's not me you're supporting, please support one of them. I'm totally for that. Um, I'd like to say, I was even wondering about what you're talking about, bringing down numbers, because it is a concern that I've thought about. If more people, I'm assuming more people will eventually enter the race, on the Democrat side. The more people that enter the race, I guess statistically, Morrissey would need less of the vote to get in. Um, but that's assuming the votes would be equally distributed between all the candidates. So it might just be two folks. It might just be Morrissey and, hey, let's just say me, neck and neck until see who wins. And you still would need 50% of the vote. But yeah, the more challengers, the less Morrissey statistically would probably need. So I would encourage an independent to get out there as well, in case, just kind of like
exactly.
a
Or
fire
even a
alarm on the
Republic.
way out.
Yeah,
In
I think
case
the
Morrissey,
Republicans. Yeah, the Republicans haven't, I don't think, fielded many candidates for DA races lately, but I hear
that
they're going to have one in this one too. So,
that's going to be a problem in Norfolk County.
yeah,
I think it's the most democratic county, on top of
totally.
best top school rankings, top physical health. I think it's the most democratic county in the United States. You look,
Yeah,
there's like almost not one red stitch from the last presidential election in anywhere in Norfolk County. So it's going to be very
like
likely it'll be a
Suffolk.
party line vote, um, unless, and I think I really hope an independent runs so they can be a third option in the general election, uh, barring, say Morrissey gets
Winning with like
22% and
20% of the vote.
gets
Yeah.
back on his vote, then
Yeah,
everyone
I,
can
I
get
don't I
behind
don't
the
think that's
independent.
likely though. I feel like he's gonna I feel like in a four-way prime, like let's say that I I wonder too if anyone else will enter the race, but I have a feeling not. And not that there might not be one or two more. There could be, but I just don't think anyone else that's going to come in is going to be like a front runner. Like I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's going to be some rich billionaire lawyer that's going to jump up with huge name recognition that I never thought of, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think it's going to be the race that we see right now, And I think Morrissey will come in last if he runs. Like honestly, I think that's how much he's. When we look at the polling, he's in single digits. He's in single digits in his district. Like I don't see how his favorability is like less than anybody else you can put on the ballot. You know, so
Uh,
we'll see
I
what
know Quincy
happens.
guy. I mean, I know he's had the most of his unopposed elections. His last
That's
four,
right.
3 or 4, the most of the votes have come from Quincy. That's where he's
Yep.
from. So a whole town like Quincy could make a big, a whole city like
Yeah.
Quincy rather could make a big difference for someone like Morrissey. So I don't want to get too comfortable with the polling
No,
that.
I get it. There's an operation there too. It's no doubt about it. The machine is in Quincy. I'm glad you brought that up, and that is a machine city. I know that. Like it's a political machine. Life in Mexico City just became a member. Thank you so much. I hope you got to see our friend Dave Tree when you were here because I didn't. I got caught up. But thank you for becoming a member. And hopefully you gave Dave a hug for us. We also had a question from Mary Lynch. Mary Lynch sent 1999. She said, "Look at Dave Finnerty case. Good MBTA cop scapegoated for reporting misuse of force by other cop, convicted for false report that we had no part in. Rollins used him as a political pawn in her game of corruption." I don't know. Do you know anything about that case? I know it went federal. I'm not sure I know much about it to comment on it. Do you,
I don't.
Attorney Barakat?
I
No.
can tell you that Rachel Rollins, along with Larry Krasner of Philadelphia and the DA of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, and out in Oakland, California. These are all big name progressive DAs who I do like the work they've done to emulate a lot of their policies, especially around decriminalization. But that specific case about the MBTA, I mean, I'm happy to look more into that. Um, I mean, MBTA runs through Norfolk County, but sounds like it was related to Suffolk County.
But, so it said policy changes. What do you have any specific policy changes that you would bring if you were a DA?
I think the first, honestly, I think the first stop should be the decriminalization statute. Um, not just to pull the costs down of prosecution, but I think it's more fair um, uh, for nonviolent criminals to, I guess, get this kind of second chance. Um, there's certainly a lot to be said about collecting restitution from folks if that's appropriate, and so long as they have the means to pay that. I know it's easier said than done, but that should be a top priority. I think looking out, policy changes, sure, looking out for the vulnerable. It doesn't seem like Norfolk County District Attorney's Office has done that with investigating Sandra Birchmore. A young pregnant mom to be, and and essentially bringing this crazy prosecution against Karen Reed. When more, I'm more of a not understand statistics, but I like quoting statistics. Women are in the United States generally are being incarcerated per capita at a higher rate than men. It's been a trend for the last few years. I mean, to be victimizing women and to putting more of them in prison. I mean, I don't know what the Norfolk County DA's office is trying to accomplish here. Women, as we know, are the backbone of almost every family, and so if you lock up a bunch of mothers, what do you think is going to happen to the kids? You're just going to have more people to eventually prosecute when because they had no one to set them straight, put them in line, and it's a one domino falls, and you got to policy changes protect the vulnerable. implement fair and just investigations. I know you got the folks who are the I don't think saying free Karen Reed means you're saying, no justice for John O'Keefe. I think, but justice for John O'Keefe is the side that these anti-Karen Reed folks have been on, and maybe they think there was that there was fair and just investigation done in the Karen Reed case, but when you're pulling out leaf blowers and Stop and Shop bags and Solo cups and running one license plate in the area, not getting statements of witnesses, and if you do, it's not until months later and after they've lawyered up. I mean, that's not a fair investigation. It's not a just investigation. They need, that's a policy implement that I would do, and just try it. And I meant to say this too. A lot of what's going on, and it's going to be for whoever takes over. It's they're not just going to have the job of continuing justice in Norfolk County. I think they have the additional uphill battle of regaining the public trust. So they kind of have a dual job coming in. So
right,
you'll have to implement how you're going to do that. I don't think changing one person. I think changing one person probably do a lot, but you got to do more. You'll have to do more.
It's a great point. You got to regain the public trust is like the biggest thing that you'll be focusing on day one. We've had a lot of questions on this one tonight. James Lynch says, "Will you charge William Farwell with murder?" Morrissey won't. That's Sandra Birchmore. You mentioned her a minute ago. What do you think? Should he be facing charges in Norfolk County too?
I mean, as far as the hierarchy of courts goes, he's at the worst place he can already be. He's in federal court, where they could sentence him to the death penalty. I'm certainly opposed to a death penalty, but I guess it's possible he can get the death penalty in federal court. I don't think it would be. I don't think it should be duplicative. If they got him in one, I don't think it'd be necessary. It sounds like the feds are on it. I don't mean to take a hands-off approach, but if we had the same information they had, which it sounds like maybe Morrissey did, it's more of a question of why did the feds have to step in the first place?
Exactly. Right? Why didn't Morrissey do anything with what he had? I guess the overarching question on a lot of this stuff, it comes down to what do you do when you have bad cops bringing you cases and information and it's not checking out? What do you do? Because I feel like that's a lot of what's going on here is that there's some rotten cops and they've been covering for each other and the DA is just going along with it.
I mean, a principle in jurisprudence is prosecutorial discretion. Someone could go on to Main Street and murder someone with 50 witnesses. If the DA didn't want to bring the charges, then that's kind of where it ends. I think you really need to look at who are these cops bringing the information, and use your common sense. Test: did this happen? Is this credible? Are these people credible? Does it make logical sense? And if you have any doubts, don't bring the charges.
Fully. That should
And
be.
They have the discretion to not.
Should be looking into things a little more, taking more of a hands-on approach with things instead of waiting for Proctor to get back from vacation.
And
we're always waiting for Proctor.
I think she was put in a precarious situation. She happened to have a client who had some misconduct and grief to address with the court, specifically about Proctor. So I mean, good for her. Perfect timing for her client to capitalize on his his situation.
Yeah, Rosemary's a great attorney. That you mentioned Trial 4. I watched it too. That was it's a great little series there, and it's funny how Trial 4 is very similar, in my opinion, to Karen Reed, where it's short, like both cases, and again, I'm not saying it's proven, but it sure looks like both cases might have been cops killing cops or cops covering up for bad things that cops did. Like it's just weird. Like it just seems like there's a lot of cover-ups going on, and it's very
Or,
similar situation where cops are involved in bad behavior.
I mean, you'll need to prevent the abuse of power as well. I mean, both of those cases, at least law enforcement should have been investigated as a potential suspect. I mean, maybe it comes back nothing. And given the way the district attorney's office in Norfolk County is run, my guess is it would come back with nothing. But I mean, it's kind of a slap in the face to the residents that they didn't even investigate. I mean, it's unbelievable. They didn't say we looked into it. There's nothing there. No, they didn't. They didn't do anything. And
What do you
again,
think about that cop that got $332,000? One of the Canton cops made that was what he was making, 330K. And this is leaf blowers and Stop and Shop bags. What do you think that any Canton cop should be making $330,000?
I mean, I don't even think the chief makes that much, unless that figure was of the chief. But
No, this was Gallagher. He was the guy that had DEA duties and things like that. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
no.
I mean, while we're on the topic of the Canton police, I think there was a Chief, let's say Rafferty.
Yep.
She had made a comment right before the first Karen Reed trial about prosecutors and cops aren't like defense attorneys because there's only so much they can say and they got to hold themselves up to ethical standards and all this. And I mean, like it was really rich kind of coming from that police station given what was going on and knowing what was going on at the district attorney's office. I mean, certainly a lot of these folks are complicit. I mean, whether we ever find out how complicit they were, I mean, it's gonna be like a domino falling. And I think that's why Karen Reed still kind of captivates a lot of the media because I think we're waiting for someone to crack.
We are.
And you're seeing some of it play out with what Rosemary brought forward and what you just can
Just a steady drip of it.
Oh yeah, and with Jackson bringing asking Devers to be put on the Brady list. I mean, it's
Yes. That was
can't be all we've got.
We get a question here. Do you have a favorite philosopher?
It's hard to say. I do like Descartes. I think therefore I am Rene Descartes. Okay. I loved the meditations in college, and I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff he did to cats, but I think if I was to pick one, it'd probably be him.
And what do you like about it? Like beyond you did quote one of them. Like what's kind of the philosophy you like about it?
It's kind of like he was a real fundamentalist. So he would go after your fundamental beliefs and well, what a fundamentalist, I think I might have misspoke there. Foundationalist. So he goes against, he'll question some of your foundational beliefs, such as it's almost like a pyramid. You have these beliefs. I could make the case for like you want to believe cops are good and that they're protecting the public, and then based on that, they'll keep us safe. And it keeps going up. But any kind of foundational belief, like building a house, and when you break the foundation, right, everything else you've thought about comes crumbling down. So quite like, if you busted up a foundation of a house, the whole thing's gone. Yeah, I mean, I like the mental exercises and doing that. It's been a while, so I do appreciate that question.
There's only one class I talk about that I ever took that changed my life. Like it was Logic 101, like at Bridgewater State. It was like
Oh,
I went
truth
in there
be
like pro death penalty. I left anti death penalty. You know what I mean? Because it's like when you really get into logic, and then you have to write it down, make a list on both sides, and you think about it. You might change your mind. You might
like
change your mind, and then you might change the way you think completely about everything on every, like, and
and
realize how little we know. Like, what do I automatically think is true, but then I look at it, it's not actually true. It's not you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
whether the premise follows, and when you get into it, formulaic. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
it's,
I saw my friend. I'll say I don't even know how to say it. I'm saying friend. Let's like maybe a better term for it. But a guy I know from the Grace Curley Show. I go on Grace Curley Show. He's the producer of the Curley Show. Taylor. He's a conservative, and he wrote a thing about why he's against the death penalty, which I thought was very interesting. And a lot of it was the same stuff that I got at Bridgewater State College. I thought, when because we were actually presenting it. You had to go both sides of it, and it's so funny because a lot of the same stuff he said, it was exactly why I'm against the death penalty, like the cost and the fact that it just if you look into it, a lot of times they always execute the wrong people. Like it's never the one that you're like that guy deserves it. Never. They never. It's always like someone who's mentally ill or that's
yeah, and
it's a system, right?
it's a whole lot of. I mean, I think there's a reason Mass outlawed it when they did, right? Because um, they didn't find it to be. They found it to be cruel and unusual.
Yeah. Cruel to the families too. Like if that person has kids, it's also you can't bring back like we've let out people who have had life sentences that we found out were innocent and we've let them out of jail. Like, Joel Savati. So you can't bring back somebody who's innocent after you've executed them. You can't let them out of jail when you find out they're innocent, So that's a big one for me.
And things are
But
always.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you get it. I know you do. Let's talk about one question I got. Donations. This is something that Michael Morrissey does right now in office. He takes donations from people that work at Norfolk County District Attorney's office. Would you accept donations from people that work in your office if you were DA?
Certainly not if I was uh, uh, above them, right? Someone wants to give me a donation. Again, I can't ask for any, but no, I would not. I would not. But the sad thing is that's a standard practice for district attorneys.
It is. He takes a lot
And
of donations, like Adam
um,
Lally. I think some of the Mass State Police cops. Yeah,
and if you go to well, if you're ever interested, you could go to the OC PF
CPF.
uh,
Yeah,
website and click on the whoever the candidate is, or the district attorney. You click on Morrissey, and someone who works there, you can type in their last name, see if they ever made a donation. I mean, um, it's almost like paying to keep your job, right? And I've talked to some people who say sometimes it's actually expected. And that's terrible. It's terrible. Massachusetts seems like one of the only places you can do that. Uh, um, Donations in Mass though are also interesting because per calendar year you can only donate $1,000 is the max. So even if someone like I don't know, I'm wishfully thinking here. Elon Musk was like, "Oh, I want to donate to Barakat, and so he can take on Morrissey." He can only donate $1,000. So it makes it very important about donations, especially when Morrissey has almost $500,000. I mean, I heard the folks at NBC saying he could give it to someone else. Hey, he might still run. I don't know. We don't know that, but I would take a magnifying glass to whoever he gives that money to if he gives it to someone else.
Exactly. Especially if he starts making donations to some of the local Democratic town campaigns, like town, what do you call them? Town committees.
Sure, yeah, town council. Oh, around Norfolk, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the Quincy, buying the machine, keep the machine going. I mean, definitely. I hope people are keeping an eye out. I'll take a look at his OCPF again. I haven't looked in a while, but he really hasn't been raising any new money. It's like he's just sitting on that half mil. Um,
Where would you even donate? I mean, would you have
uh,
to give him a check in hand?
nobody's donating. Nobody's donating now. I think, yeah. Yeah,
Everyone
here's a
I've
question that came up from Linda about it. She says, if Morrissey retires, what happens to all the money he raised? Where does it go? In his pocket? No, no, it's not supposed to go in his pocket. I mean, he can basically give it to other campaigns. He can do what he wants with it, basically, in terms of political campaigns, I believe. But I don't think he can put it in his own pocket. No.
no, no, but Mike, you do bring up an interesting point. I could, it would be like, potentially $1,000, maybe less, $1,000 checks going out to elected officials or candidates around Norfolk County. I mean, it's a lot of people you could donate to, but I don't know. Would you accept it? I
He
don't
could
know. Would you want to
he
accept that?
could he could be buying some endorsements too. Like, if you're the mayor of Quincy, if you we got to make sure he's not giving donations to people. Morrissey, that's a good little tactic he might have to. I know somebody, like I said, I went to Bridgewater State, so a lot of the guys that I went to Bridgewater State College with and ladies were from the South Shore. And I remember going to like a party after I graduated, let's say, in the Quincy area. And a guy I don't know, like who was at the party, was like, "Yeah, I'm getting a job. I'm getting a job at the court. I'm holding a sign. I'm holding a sign for this guy. And once he's elected, he's gonna get me a job. And I made a donation. I'm part of the team. It's just like the way it works. Like you go hold the sign, you make a donation, you get a job. Like if your guy wins."
Yeah, I mean,
And I
uh,
was just sitting there going, like, really? That's how it works? Like I'm just a
um,
kid, and I'm trying to figure out shit. I'm like, maybe I should go give a donation to the superintendent so I can get hired as a school teacher. Because that's when I wasn't getting hired. So I'm like, do superintendents have campaigns?
yeah.
No, they
I
don't.
mean,
No, they don't.
governors, a lot of, and sometimes when it's a contentious race, you don't know,
Yeah. The school
donating and
committee. Yeah, that's what I should have
work
done. I
out.
should have started writing checks to school committee members, and I would have gotten hired as a school teacher back then. There were like back when I graduated college, I was a history teacher, and all my friends were history and major and phys ed teachers. None of us could get hired. If we had just been science, we got or math, we get hired in a second. That's what I learned when I graduated. Like, I wasn't getting hired because I was a history major. There was too many history teachers out there. Now they're looking for teachers everywhere. Like things have changed.
Yeah,
I don't think they
and
have those
budgets.
issues
I mean,
anymore.
when budgets get slashed, but they can pay Hank Brennan, $500,000,
That's it.
and they say, well, we gotta cut your kids' class. We gotta combine two classes and give like a 32-to-1 ratio. Uh,
And that's definitely what was going on when I graduated too. They were in the middle of a lot of cuts. They were getting rid of teachers left and right back then. I don't know what it's like now, but um, I brought up too much of my stuff. I'm talking about myself a lot tonight, Jim. You're getting me talkative, which is good. It's fine. Um, I'm just wondering if I missed anything. Oh, I know. I had Juna Perkins on the show, as I mentioned earlier. I haven't had Craig on. Would you be open to have like a debate type, not even a debate, but like a more like a forum between candidates?
I would, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I my, I can't. I would say it's probably going to end up being more of a trash the administration that's currently in power.
Yeah.
But
That's what we want to do. Yeah.
but I can't
We'll have
can't
like
speak for
can't
them.
on the Young Jerks, and you know what I want to do is I want to invite Morrissey, and he's not going to respond, and so like we'll like maybe have like an empty chair, dude, like an empty square here. We'll just have a picture of
Cardboard cutout.
Morrissey.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have one of his burner names was it Cheesy Banana?
yeah, something like that.
So we'll have a screen name, Cheesy Banana. We'll put a Cheesy Banana. It'll be Morrissey spot.
Uh,
So funny. So I guess we've had you for over an hour, hour and 20 actually, hour and 19 right now. But what do you think? Any final thoughts tonight, or like summarize like why people should support your campaign? Anything else you want to talk about that you didn't get to discuss tonight?
yeah, so I'm not a politician. This is my first foray into politics. Um, Certainly a lot of big money, big names out there. So I'm seeing what I can do. I'm a normal guy, like sort of many of my potential voters, and I think I could bring the change, not just financially, but culturally to the district attorney's office. The way things are run certainly aren't working. I'm a defense attorney, so I see um, the cases from my side, the defense side. So I'm kind of like the boots on the ground, know how things work, how to make cases stick, and how to do things by the book. I don't have a background in prosecution. I don't find that to be a fault of mine. I look at the folks who are in charge right now, who've been lifetime prosecutors, and look how bad they've screwed this up. So again, I can't ask you to donate because I am a public employee. Um, I ask for your vote when it comes to time. And we're at some point, and it's a weird scheme too, how they get folks to get on the ballot, signing the signatures and all. They release the signature paperwork like February of the election year, and have to be in by about like the end of May. So you really have like a 3-month window to go collecting signatures. So I hope to do more community outreach. I hope to do more town meetings and things like that. Anywhere anyone will have me. I want to make it known that I'm upset and what's happening in our county is not okay, and that we need to make change, bring change to Norfolk County. And this guy who's there, he's got to go.
Dickles says Juna balked at the idea when suggested, would Jim be willing to have a meatball sub fundraiser hosted to benefit his campaign?
I would, sure. That sounds great. There's a place, I was like, best meatballs I've ever had is a place in Worcester called Vincent's. It's a little dive bar that I think they serve like a charcuterie plate and meatballs on a piece of bread, and the meatballs are just amazing.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's a good comment.
I
And
mean, it's not
Mac
Norfolk County,
Dickles,
but
maybe we're gonna
I'll
work
throw a
this out.
fundraiser at Vincent's. Huh?
Yeah. Let me know if you do have that event. We'll definitely promote it. I think people would get a lot of they'd love that. The, good luck, Jim. I would vote for you, except I'm in Plymouth County. That's from Lindsay Bay. We're getting a lot of comments too about the debate too. They're looking. People want to see that. They're looking forward to seeing
Yeah, I keep
an
looking
empty
a
seat for
little.
Morrissey.
I keep looking a little off screen here to catch some of these comments, but
Yeah, you checking.
yeah.
Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. It's funny. Sometimes I ignore it completely. Sometimes I focus on it a lot. It's a double-edged sword, you know.
Next time, follow me on X. Next time I'm
Yes.
in Worcester, which I think will be soon. I do gotta go out there for work. I'll stop at Vincent's and I'll snap a picture of my meatball on toast
There you go.
and put it on X, and everyone can follow that.
And they were also commenting about your amazing hair tonight. Aaron P wanted to know if you saw the earlier comment about your amazing hair. That someone compared it to Alessi, one of the Karen Reed attorneys.
Ah, that's funny. That's why right now on my website I don't have a picture of myself. I'm not trying to be um, secretive. I just don't know what to do with my hair. So I don't know what picture I want out there. Short, long, somewhere in the middle. But I felt
You
fine
got
enough
good
to put it on
hair.
my
You
website.
have good hair. You gotta. I
Thank
think you
you.
should take advantage of it. That's one of the things. I used to wear a hat all the time on the show, and my girlfriend's like, "You got good hair. You have to show it. You have to show your hair." And when I took the hat off, people went crazy. They were like, "Oh my God, you got good hair. Why?" Are you... So I'd say, like someone said just right there, ask your wife. That's exactly it. Ask your wife. If you have a wife or a girlfriend,
Yeah,
ask her which
she's
is the best picture. She will hook you up like my girlfriend hooked me up.
I think she likes the long hair.
There you go.
But oh, you know what? One other thing I was going to mention. I alluded to on X. Speaking of X, the Young Jerks effect, and you reposted something I put up, and then it was almost like a cascade, and I want to thank you. It was almost like a cascade of or influx of the next post I made after that. I was always wondering. I said, what? Who's like Stacy from Idaho who gets thousands of hearts and or someone who I'm like, why can I get those kind of numbers? I don't know how to do it. And at any rate, I mean, my next post got so much engagement, like 30,000 views, and then WCVB called me and said, can we get a quote for our show? And then I was just on NBC earlier in the week, and I'm like, this is the Young Jerks effect. So so
Yeah,
thank
I think it's true now. Like I have a lot of media, a lot of Boston media follows us. A lot of it's funny because I see them, they hit me up, and I'm just like, holy shit, you watch too, like because some of them I know, like some of them I've been following. So yeah, definitely. We definitely got some reach now. It's amazing, and for a long time they ignored us too. Like even I think they were following us, but they didn't. Now we're getting links and stuff. They're like supporting us, which is I appreciate it. But it's wild when I found out Howie Carr was listening. That was the wildest one, and now I'm friends with Howie Carr, which is crazy. Yeah, Howie Carr, exactly.
Oh,
But
you maybe I
we got
should.
to get you on there. We got to get you on the Howie Carr network with Grace and Howie.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm
He
just
might call
seeing.
you a moonbat though. He might because about the Rachel Rollins stuff. He might.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of people don't like the progressive platform. I
I
get it.
like it, but and it's funny because Rachel used to call into the Howie Carr show, which I thought was like some of the best radio ever when she called in. I don't know if you remember that. Did you ever hear that?
No, no,
Oh
I'll
wow,
have to
that
look.
was wild. That was
Uh,
wild.
but I do
She was
get
like,
what you're saying now
uh,
about not reading the comments here, or the
"Yeah,
or
don't
the
read the
live
yeah,
chat.
yeah, yeah."
It,
You get caught up. You
I
like
see what.
like
Well, I just see what if I can respond. Shamwow, he writes, "Sorry, Jim, you aren't mad enough. You need to be mad. I am mad. I'm really fucking pissed, honestly. But if you want to, if you know me, and you know my demeanor in court, I mean, it's kind of what you get. I try to play it somewhere in the middle. I'll go more philosophical. You got your vices on both ends of the spectrum, and you want to get right in the middle. Uh, there's your virtue. I
say
feel
we
virtuous, but
did post. I'm gonna post it again. We have posted your website up there, so people
thank you.
can definitely donate there. That's pinned in the chat. Um, but you, like you said, you also have the Twitter account, which we have the handle up on the screen right now. But I'm posted again in the chat. I'd love for people to follow Jim on his Twitter account. I follow him. You post some good stuff there. I think you are pretty outspoken on there. So if people, I think they should be following you. I'd like to see more followers on your Twitter account after tonight. Hopefully it does happen. Last I checked, there was only like 85. So we got to
Yeah.
get that up. We got to get up.
Yes.
There's 86 now.
Oh,
So,
awesome. I would
so
love more. I would love more
let's get
followers.
that up.
It was hard because I don't know about monitoring all the different accounts, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. But I felt like X was the place that's.
Good for
I know you're
politics,
there.
too.
It's just the one where most of the folks who are going to engage and make a difference, especially for a candidate like myself who doesn't have a lot of money in the war chest, going to make a difference. You don't need the money, in my opinion. I think you need the voice. I think you need the voters, and you know, I'm excited for the next year. See what happens. I think this
Me
time
too.
next year it's going to be a little crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna be having some fun over the next year, especially if Morrissey runs. That'll be fun for me. I already know some people who are gonna have some citizens are just gonna make campaign ads for themselves about like anti-Morrissey. Like it's gonna be when do you see volunteer citizens that have nothing to do with campaigns, have nothing ever to do with any campaigns, and they're gonna make videos going after Morrissey if he runs again? I've never seen that.
People are very creative, uh,
Yeah.
and I look at some stuff on the internet and I say, where do they come up with this stuff? They're so creative.
Mm. Oh, someone just followed you. They are starting to follow you, Sheila and Isabel.
Thank you.
Excellent. Let's see some more followers. We definitely want to see more followers for Jim here, his campaign. And if you want to donate as well, uh, it's pinned at the top of the chat, so you can definitely check that out. Someone said 93 now. We are moving up. We're moving up.
Awesome. With
Let's
the
see.
100, I'll be very, very happy with my.
97. We're at 97. We're gonna get you over 100, definitely.
Awesome.
All right. So I want to thank you again for Jim for being on the show tonight, and I guess you're getting some retweets as well. Let's just keep it going. Since someone said I just found it and followed it. No, it's not a wig. This is his real hair. Come on, it's all
Mike, thank
real.
you. Really,
Yeah.
the pleasure was mine. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Jim Barakat. We're going to be following you on Twitter and X, and I wish you well in your campaign. Definitely want to have you back on the show. And like I said, I would like to have a forum with all the campaigns, and we'll invite Morrissey, and he won't show up.
Anytime.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you so much, Jim. Check him out, Jim Bearcat. He's running for a Norfolk County DA. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you soon, Jim.
Thank you.
We're the Young Jerks. I want to thank everyone who's been watching, and thank you to our mod team. Thank you, MJ. She reminds everyone to also follow and subscribe to the Young Jerks. We just crossed 60,000 subs last night. I'm very happy about that. We're trying to get to 100. I want to get to 100,000. I want the plaque. I want to put the plaque back here. We're 40,000 away. Pretty friggin' amazing. I never thought I'd get to 60,000 of you following us. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done over the last couple of years for me and my show. And I just love what we're doing. I love the guests that we have. I liked having Jim on the show tonight. Like I said, please follow and support him, just like you do with Juna. I think we need to support them all, and we'll figure out who's gonna win. But we got to make sure it's not Morrissey. And I think as much as we can highlight all these campaigns, it's just going to help. We're still a year out, so it's not a big deal to worry about which one we want to back. We'll figure it out at the end. ShamWow, Sent Canadian 699 said, I'm sorry, Jim, you aren't mad enough. You need to be mad. I think he did respond to that. Thank you, Shim. Wow. I like how he responded to it before I even posted it up on the screen. So I think, you got to give him a break, too. This is his first time doing anything like this, you know? I think he did pretty good. I think he did well. I think I was a little off, if anything, tonight. I probably talked a little more than usual. I'm just in a kind of a funky mood right now because I've been kind of too busy again. Remember how I said I want to slow down? This week it got too busy. The last couple days has been just too much dog business. I try to cut back and then I take on shit that I should have not done. I just it's funny. I'm juggling two businesses. It's hard, but I thought he did a good job tonight. And let's hear it in the chat right now. How many people like Jim? And two questions: did you like him? And do you think he's strong enough? I see people like them. Yeah, he did get better, and he did get better. And maybe I wasn't. Sometimes I need to be a little more conversational. Maybe So I think it might have been me more than him. I think he did a good job. I do. And you know what? I like that he was supporting Turtle Boy. I think we should clip that up right there. I think that people on Twitter and X and Aiden himself, I think he will enjoy what Jim said there. Yeah, he did good at the end. And it is his first campaign. And he's pure. That's what I like. I think all of these, that's what I like here. I think all three of these campaigns, like I said, I haven't had Craig on the show yet, but I think all of them are in it for the right reasons. Everyone liked them. I don't see anyone who didn't like them. That's an important thing as a politician. People like them. Yeah, and that's the thing too. There is room for improvement. There always is. And when you do get closer, I've had a lot of campaigns on over the years, and they always do find their stride and they find their talking points. And so I think it was a good first show, definitely. And I like how he wanted to come on too. I had mentioned something on the show about wanting to have the campaigns on recently, and he had heard about it. He hit me up on Twitter. I like that too. I like when they're seeking out things, campaigns. That shows and seeking out my show because honestly, that shows smarts. That shows that he's paying attention. You know, if you're a campaign in Norfolk County right now, you should be asking me to be on the show. And that's kind of like one of the reasons why I'm like, I'm not chasing Craig right now, even though I want to have him on the show, but it's like it's kind of a test. It's kind of a test, and I think Jim passed the test. I really do. I muted myself. Let's try to get him more Twitter followers tonight. I did put his website pinned in the chat. I want to make sure if anyone wants to donate to him, you can tonight. But I'm going to put his Twitter up again in the chat. If you didn't get to see it, definitely do follow Team Bear. I always want to say Barakat. It's the way you pronounce it is Barakat. So Jim Barakat. Make sure you hit that up. He's up to 105. Excellent. Let's try to get him to like 500 tonight. I know we didn't have the biggest audience tonight, but we can get him some more numbers on the replays too. And share it around. I saw one of our mods, is here tonight. She said she shared it on Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, share his account. Say, hey, you should follow him. That's another way to get him a lot of followers. Yeah, let's get him to 1,000. Look at. Just want to check a couple things out here. I think we're good to go. Yeah, he does seem like a regular guy. He seems like he's in it for the right reasons too. He's got experience. I like that's why I like all three of these folks. They all have experience. You like his hair, you like his ex post. So it seems like I haven't seen anyone that didn't like him tonight. So that's good, right? Yeah, Jim's the best. Yeah, we're doing the DA tour, Norfolk DA tour. Yeah, I'll do a retweet. I'll do a retweet. But it's actually tweeted up there. If you want to retweet me right now, there's a YouTube link with his you know, link it to his account right there. So it's already kind of up there, but I'll do another one later. If you want to retweet it, definitely do so. Yes. It's actually it should be pinned up there right now on the tweet, on the Twitter. All right. I have nothing planned. I was just looking at my notes. I'm like, do I have anything that I'm supposed to be promoting right now? Any shows upcoming? I think I'm taking it slow. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure when my next show is. All right, I'm gonna head out. Yes, see, it is there. Yeah, he's down to earth. He's smart, and he is disgusted with Morrissey. And I liked what he said about Aiden too. All right, I'll see you soon. I'm not sure when, but you know it'll be soon. Just make sure you subscribe, you follow, and you check us out, especially on weeknights. You know how we do it. My next show may be last minute. Who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay cool. I'm glad it's cooler. I hope it's cooler where you're at. I saw some people still saying it's very warm where they're at. Oh, thank you so much. This is such a nice gift on the way out. Unfit for normalcy. Said $50 and said, I hope nothing but good things for you. Oh, thank you so much. The super chats made it tonight because there weren't a super amount of people here tonight. So the couple of super chats that came in, you really made a difference. Thank you so much. Unfit for normalcy. That's huge. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mary Lynch, as well. And thank you, my friend, Life in Mexico City with Jesus Gringo or Jesus. Well, I'm not sure how he says it, but some people say Jesus, some people say Jesus. He's in Mexico City. Thank you so much for giving me the donations tonight and becoming a member. And thanks, ShamWow, as well. And especially Unfit for Normalcy. That's a huge heading out super chat. I really appreciate that. Yeah, he does not act like a crook. Yes, have a good night to our mods and myself. Yes, I will have a good night. But thank you, everybody in the chat. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. We'll see you soon. Make sure you don't miss it next time. I want to make sure you come back and watch us. I'll see you next time. Have a great night, everybody.